It is the National Constitution Center's honor to award you the 2018 Liberty Medal.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club.
So let's step into the Orwellian universe that is our planet. Joe Biden pinned the Liberty Medal on George Bush the other day, an award for service to veterans given by the National Constitution Center. I know, you can't make shit like that up, man, so let's just dig right in. And this is from CBS Local, the Philadelphia CBS. Former President George W. Bush and former First Lady Laura Bush were honored at the National Constitution Center with the Liberty Medal Award on Sunday. I am incredibly proud, along with Laura, to receive the Liberty Medal, and I thank the National Constitution Center and its board for this high honor, Bush said. In its 30th year, the award is given to recipients for their commitment to veterans. It is not about, again, Democrats or Republicans, presenter Joe Biden said. It's about who we are. It's about standing up for men and women who put their lives on the line to defend us every single day. Biden even offered the Bushes a surprise gift, Philly style. My wife Jill couldn't be here tonight, but wanted me to simultaneously present you both with a Philadelphia Eagles jersey tonight, he said to loud cheers. Who the fuck goes to things like this? Lighthearted cheers were met with tense ones after a protester interrupted the ceremony to speak out against the Bushes receiving the award. A group of but they don't show you the quote of what the protesters said. I could think of what they were probably saying. A group of veterans blocked the entrance to the National Constitution Center Sunday. Organizers from Veterans Against the War, a group of post 9/11 service members and veterans, protested near the Arch Street entrance between 5th and 6th Street. The group aims to end a foreign policy of permanent war and the use of military weapons, tactics, and values in communities across the country, the group said in a statement. Bam, nailed it. They are protesting for the right thing. Following the terrorist attacks on September 11, 2001, the United States under President Bush entered wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Funny way to frame it. Our democracy depends upon the embrace of high ideals and civic responsibility. There is no finer example of citizenship than our veterans, former President Bush said in a statement last month. Laura and I are honored to dedicate this award from the National Constitution Center to the men and women who have defended and upheld the rights and freedoms enshrined in our Constitution. Jesus Christ, Orwell. This is the 30th annual Liberty Medal ceremony. Former recipients include Hillary Clinton, Muhammad Ali, and John McCain. First thing I want to address is that first Bush quote and just reiterate, the quote itself isn't crazy, but just, the Orwellian nature of this all. I'm incredibly proud, along with Laura, to receive the Liberty Medal, and I thank the National Constitution Center for its high honor, right? So he's getting a quote, Liberty Medal from a National Constitution Center. It's already ridiculous. And the medal honors, dedication and service to veterans. So let's put that into context for a second. George Bush is a war criminal. He launched an illegal war for resources. He had a kill list and an illegal drone program to carry out that kill list. He had a worldwide torture program with CIA black sites everywhere. They had their torture prison in Abu Ghraib, which was the predecessor to it, And they have a permanent torture base that everyone knows about in Guantanamo Bay. He's the one who signed the Patriot Act, the one who turned the war machine against the United States' own citizens. That's George Bush, and he's receiving a Liberty Medal, which signifies how he served our veterans. Served them by sending them into an illegal war that breaks our own Constitution, as well as international laws, to go murder people. So he and his vice president could make tremendous amounts of money. And the Joe Biden quote here. It is not about, again, Democrats or Republicans. It is about who we are. It is about standing up for men and women who put their lives on the line to defend us every single day. So good old bipartisan Joe here, ignoring reality because him and George Bush both serve the same masters, which is, the established order of American empire. Bush has a medal put on him by the opposition vice president as a true hero, as one of the heroes of the resistance, pinning a medal on one of the newest members of the resistance, quote unquote, George Bush. Framing this guy like he is someone to be celebrated and not shaming him for the war criminal that he is. He's responsible for how many thousands of U.S. service members dying, how many of them are committing suicide every day, and how many countless civilians throughout the Middle East, millions by some estimates, hundreds of thousands by others. And he gives them a stupid fucking Eagles jersey. Like, this is what bipartisanship and civility looks like to all those people who constantly write about that and talk about that in the media as if that's what American people want. They don't want this. They don't want civility with war criminals. People voted for Barack Obama, and Joe Biden was the vice president of Barack Obama. People voted for that campaign because they no longer wanted someone like a George Bush around. They repudiated him. They didn't want war crimes anymore. They wanted a change. They wanted bankers to be jailed. They wanted war criminals to go away. And that never happens. Never, ever happened. So what did happen is you have people like Joe Biden, a decade later, putting medals on George Bush. Not putting him in jail, but putting medals on George Bush and giving him Eagles jerseys in the name of civility and bipartisanship. For the vets. For the vets. You can become bipartisan to send them to war and die, and you can become bipartisan to put a medal on the person who sent them there to die. But you can't be bipartisan to give people health care. So if I haven't made it clear already, Biden is able, in his brain, to put a medal on George Bush because they're not that different. Joe Biden and Barack Obama continued George Bush's legacy in terms of foreign policy. They just tweaked it a little bit. Instead of doing massive amounts of boots on the ground, they just massively increased the amount of special forces we use and the amount of drones we use, the amount of robots we use to murder people. They just continued his policy. The one little bright spot was all the veterans here, and their mission statement nails it. They're a group that aims to end a foreign policy of permanent war. No fucking shit. 20 years later, we're still in Afghanistan. And the use of military weapons, tactics, and values in communities across the country. You ever see these videos of people being swatted? When someone calls the SWAT team on someone else's house as a joke, and just because someone calls the police and says there's a hostage, you now have a military-style unit break your door down and do a home invasion and sweep your house? These veterans are nailing it. They're completely calling out the situation as it is. And I wish more veterans would do stuff like this, and I wish more people would support these kind of veterans. And not pin medals on war criminals, but that'd be asking a lot of Joe Biden. He is a corporate shill. One other thing, the end of this article does put into context that after 2001, we did go to war in Iraq and Afghanistan. George Bush, sent us there. But there's no mention of any of the illegality of any of it, or any of the war crimes and criminal behavior. Like I said, drone program, kill list, Abu Ghraib, Guantanamo Bay, fucking CIA black sites, Patriot Act. Nope, no mentions of that. We just entered a war. We entered a war. Not we committed a crime against humanity, we entered a war. Okay. The former winners, two of them. One of them is Muhammad Ali that they mentioned. It's funny, but he's the only one worth it. You have John McCain. Say what you want about his service career. That's not what I'm talking about. He served our country honorably and was captured and tortured. That's horrible. But as an elected official? No way. He just wants to go to war with anything that moves. Bomb, 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 bomb Iran. He sang that on a campaign trail to the tune of the Beach Boys. This guy was insane. He was a disservice to the military service. The only thing he was good on was being anti-torture. And Hillary Rodham Clinton, another idiot just like McCain, who voted for the Iraq War and the Patriot Act, and is responsible for the loss of service members' lives as well as civilian lives. So it almost makes you want to give up hope. But then I saw there was a comment section, so let's just read some of the comment sections. So here's the comment section. What a travesty. Bush lies us into war that should never have been, and then gets a medal for his concern for traumatized veterans of that same war. Oh, and 500,000 people in Iraq, mostly civilians, got to enjoy the liberty of being killed. The Constitution Center has turned this medal into a tin-plated embarrassment. And Joe Biden, well, I thought he was okay, but it turns out he's just a spineless hypocrite. Good take. The National Constitution Center board should be ashamed for picking that human garbage for an award. He started a war under false pretenses that resulted in 36,000 dead and wounded, along with 210,000 innocent civilians. American hypocrisy at its finest. So here's one of the only idiotic right-wingers. This is just super representative of like a Trump right-winger in this current political climate. They see something like this. They see how the two parties are both the same, and how the establishment left and the establishment right both serve imperial power, and they'll pin medals on each other. And he'll say something like this. That's it? 10 people was all they could muster? Wonder how many of those national disgraces were honorably discharged and how many were court-martialed. I guess referring to the veterans brave enough to protest this. I wonder if he served. That he's talking so much shit on veterans. I didn't serve, but I'm not going to call veterans who wanted to protest war national disgraces and question whether or not they were honorably discharged from the military. I wouldn't question their service. It's just ridiculous. Well, let's just read the rest of what he has to say, just to show how opinions do vary, but let's just read. Not sure which is the more ironic, the fact that windbags like Biden, which is true, trying to posture himself as a moderate, which is true, when his record of extreme liberalism is perfectly obvious, are now courting rhinos, rhino meaning Republican in name only, like Bush and McCain, whom they once vilified as the second coming of Hitler, like they now are for Trump. Or the fact that after an entire decade, some poor snowflakes were so triggered by Bush that they're still seething over it and trying to punish him. There's tolerance for you. So I guess he's trying to attack left tolerism by saying you should tolerate war criminals. That's the exact opposite of tolerance, idiot. But this is how far to the right our spectrum is pulled in even the last 20 years. These people think Bush and McCain were Republicans in name only. They think they're closeted lefties. That's how insane some of these people are. But let's just return some of our hope here with some of the answers to this guy. FYI to Mr. S, the snowflakes you disparage are some of the veterans of the Iraq War and the family members of the fallen of that war. Bush has never acknowledged that the war was based on lies, nor the 500,000 people who have paid in blood for that mistake. Another perspective, sir, that I hope you can consider. That's how you shut down an asshole. Another response to that ridiculous comment. So you think that a president who repeatedly lied to this nation, causing the needless deaths of several thousand American servicemen and women, plus several 100,000 other people, should get a pass after 15 years and 0 days in prison? And a medal too? Wow. You have a real soft spot for criminals. Very true. And the last comment here, and these comments do give me hope because the overall theme is a repudiation of Bush still and a new found enlightenment on how establishment Joe Biden is. So it means, it's starting to unravel. People are starting to see the bigger picture with more and more of bullshit like this. So let's read this last comment. I've been a strong Biden supporter for many years, but this crosses the line. To award a medal to a man who is responsible for inflaming the Middle East, which in turn has resulted in the deaths of thousands of military men and women, hundreds of thousands of civilians, is beyond reprehensible, especially as this 18-year-old war was initiated on a lie. George Bush is a criminal together with Cheney, Rumsfeld, Wolfowitz, and the list goes on. They should all be sitting in prison, not getting medals. I am shocked, stunned, appalled, and extremely sad and angry. Joe Biden, you have dishonored America. And there you have it. The resistance is the assistance. Corporate Dems are not friends of the people because George Carlin said it best. It's a big club and you ain't in it. Joe Biden is closer to George Bush than he is to Bernie Sanders. He's more comfortable pinning a medal on a war criminal than he is agreeing with the economics of Bernie Sanders, who is an international centrist, by the way. So if this doesn't end Biden's campaign before it even starts, I don't know what will. But it seems it may be one of the biggest thorns in Biden's ass if he tries to run in 2020.
And defend the Constitution of the United States. It is the National Constitution Center's honor.